Hello and happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to the American Family Insurance DreamBank, where we believe in the transformative power of dreams. I'm Hannah, Dream Curator here at DreamBank, and on behalf of our team, we are absolutely thrilled to have you with us today. For those of you who have attended our virtual or in-person events in the past, welcome back. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'd love to take a moment to introduce you to DreamBank. Here at American Family Insurance, we believe that communities are stronger and the future is brighter when people are actively pursuing their dreams. That's why we created DreamBank, an inspirational community destination and digital experience dedicated to dreamers everywhere. From our daily event series to our immersive signature programs, there's something for every dreamer. Our offerings are designed to help you celebrate the dream journey and overcome obstacles and stay motivated. This afternoon, I have the honor of introducing our featured speaker, Lena West. Lena's razor sharp business acumen is the well-hewn result of more than a decade of hands-on experience in digital transformation and strategic business growth. Whew, sorry, one moment. As an award-winning serial entrepreneur, writer, keynote speaker, and inclusive business growth strategist, independent filmmaker, and grant maker, this truth-telling business advisor is often referred to as an entrepreneur's secret weapon. She shows experienced self-funded service-based founders and entrepreneurs how to learn, love, and leverage their inner CEO and build a business that loves them back. If you have any questions throughout the event, leave them in the Q&A section and we'll get to your questions at the end. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming our wonderful speaker this afternoon, Miss Lena West.
Hey, Hannah, thank you so much for having me. Hey, everybody, I see you all out there. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and I'm going to jump right in because I have so much information to share with you. And we're going to have, as Hannah mentioned, Q&A. So let's talk about agony-free asking, how to make confident, strategic, and successful requests. You know, before I even kind of get into the presentation, the meat of it, what I want to share with you, I want to talk for a second about what my intention is, right? I think it's really important. So I'm born and raised New York, right? I want to know where people are coming from. My sole intention today is to show you that every single day people get what they want, right? Why not you? Why not you? So as you can see on this slide, I've got a couple of items and I want to just briefly discuss these items because I do want to talk for a moment about them and how it relates to what I just said about how every day people get what they ask for, they get what they want. So up in the top left corner of the slide, it's a paperclip, right? So that's a paperclip that's offered from Tiffany's, believe it or not, and it costs $1,500. It's a paper clip. Now, okay, it might be fancy, it might be sterling silver, it might be a little hefty, it might be a little weighty, it might be used as a money clip, it might be a little bit larger than your average paper clip, but it's a paper clip. And it's $1,500 in the top right. And listen, people are buying it, PS, right? And on the top right, this is literally a screenshot that I grabbed, an image grab from Etsy. It's a product. You can go and look at it. It's a product and it's for sale on Etsy. And the shirt says this shirt was expensive AF. And the shirt is $19,995. I lied to you not. Here's the kicker. They've sold some of these. I think they've sold like 3 or 4, which means they've made some money. People have purchased this. $20,000 plain white t-shirt with just this banner on it, right? Look at this. This is once all the face masks and everything, everyone was started to mandate. Louis Vuitton said, okay, well, we're going to make a custom face mask, a face shield, $970. It's a piece of plastic with some logo stuff on it. $970 for a face shield. I mean, these things go for 12 bucks, but you're paying for the name. And lastly, a different take on paper clips. These are handcrafted paper clips. They're sold on Etsy for $100 for a set of 5. Handcrafted paper clips. That means someone took whatever gauge silver wire or metal wire and decided to craft them into the shape of what we commonly know as a paperclip. So I'm sharing all of this with you today, not to be haterade on people who are charging $20,000 for a t-shirt on Etsy, because, do you and do it really well. My point is, every single day, people are getting what they ask for, and not just money. People are getting what they're requesting. Why not you? That is my sole intention today, is to show you how you too can get what you ask for. Not every single time. So my friend Cheryl has this saying. I remember there was some sort of contest going on and I had entered, which is not like me. I don't typically enter. And I said, and I didn't win. And I said, I never win. And my friend Cheryl says, no, you mean you don't always win. So you're not always going to win. You're not always going to get what you ask for. But you know what? Let's stack the odds, right? Okay. So the goal today is to provide you with two things. Now that we talked about my intention, let's talk about what we're going to be delivering to you today. What I'm going to be delivering to you today is an understanding of why asking and asking for more is so important. So it's not just asking, it's also asking for more, right? You might be like, well, Lena, I'm perfectly happy with my salary, or I'm perfectly happy with the number of direct reports I have in my position, or I'm perfectly happy to pay X amount of dollars for this house or X amount of dollars for this car. Okay, great. So start asking for more. Start using that muscle. Start training yourself to use that muscle, right? And also, my secondary goal is to give you a system for negotiating and for asking, so that everything is logical and systematized and organized. I don't know about you all, but if left to my own devices, I will either do nothing or I will like ad lib. And when either of those happens, I don't get the outcome I want. And I typically am not as strategic as I want to be. I just am not, I just am not, I don't have a system to follow. I don't have a process to follow. So I'm going to give you that today. So let's just jump right in with a little bit of good news. And you might think, Melina, what are you talking about? Not negotiating and not asking for what you want, it's effective, right? So not making asks, not saying, hey, this is what I would rather like, or this is what I would rather want, this is what I'd rather have, or this is the amount that I would rather receive, or this is what I'd like to do with this event this year, something different, whatever. The good news is not negotiating is effective. And you can go for a really long time in life in general, not asking for what you want. And by default, right? So the odds, the flip of the coin, 50-50. Sometimes you're going to get what you want, sometimes you're not. Here's the bad news though. The bad news is not negotiating and not asking for more, or asking, period. It's effective until it's not. It's effective until everything is all said and done and you realize, wow, maybe I could have asked for more. I could have asked for more money. I could have asked for more support. I could have asked for more time. I could have asked for different deliverables, anything. I just could have asked for more, right? Or, and I hope none of us experience it, but we kind of probably all had. I mean, 2020 and 2021, hello, those years have been a little tough for everyone. But it's bad news until you're so tired from always trying to scramble to do more with less, that you're just like 2 seconds from being totally fried to a crisp. And I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way where you're trying to figure out, how can I stack more onto what I'm already doing? And oh, I don't want to take up too much space. And I don't want to ask for too much because I should be able to do this. And well, we don't have it in the budget. And they said they didn't have it. And I don't want to impose, and all of these things. Why does it have to come to this? I think that's a really valid question. Before I can get into sharing with you, here's how you go about asking, I really, really want to unpack the reasons behind why we don't ask, or why we don't ask for more. So let's take a look. Why does this happen? Why do really smart, ambitious, intelligent people seem to find themselves on the short end of the stick and selling themselves short when it comes to getting what they want and need, right? Like I said, before I can even talk to you about what's going on, I want to map out the 6 reasons that this is going on. This is what I see, right? So I coach with business owners and founders and entrepreneurs every single day. And these are the 6 things that I've seen over the course of my 15-year career of why we're not asking for more. Number one, scarcity. We are so scared. It's the FOMO of things, right? We are so scared to miss out on opportunities. We're so scared that people who are making the decisions, stakeholders, are going to choose someone else. They're going to give someone else the project. They're going to give someone else more money. They're going to give the opportunity away. Someone's going to sell the house. Someone's going to sell the car. Somebody else is going to buy the house. We're so scared to miss out that we don't ask for more and we just play it safe. And we think, if I can just be really still, and if I can just not rock the boat, and if I can just sit here, and if I can just say yes, and smile and nod, well, they'll give me what I want. And what I am here to tell you is, number one, not always the case. Number two, we'll be back to that scenario where you'll be saying after the deal is done, wow, I could have gotten what I wanted or closer to what I wanted. And the other kicker for this scarcity piece for me is, every single time you don't ask for more, don't ask for what you want, you create this barometer within yourself, within your personality, so that the next time it comes to ask, you won't do it because you're so used to not asking, right? The fear of missing out, this being scared to miss out, is directly correlated to the last time you asked, right? Or the last time you didn't ask for more, right? So you're creating this barometer for yourself. And I want you on the upward trend instead of on the downward trend, right? We don't want the hockey stick, right? So let's look at the second reason. The second reason is ease. Listen, we just talked about how it's easier to just not say anything at all and just be really still and really small and make ourselves quiet and just not ask for anything at all. Just keep accepting the default over and over and over and keep saying yes to the lowbrow offers and hoping that it'll work out. And that works until it doesn't. How long will you go on saying yes, knowing full well that the value of what you bring to the table, uh, for anything, it's worth more and you can ask for more? How long will you just keep accepting the default? Increase is not a byproduct of default. Default is a byproduct of default. Third reason is fear, right? So we are so also very scared of how folks are going to perceive us. We don't want to be come across as cheap or harsh or grabby or demanding or greedy, right? Everybody wants to be nice and play nice. And let me tell you something. While you're out here playing the personality game, other people in your industry, other people who want that house, other people who want that car, other people who want that project, they're playing the fully compensated game. It's a game you can play too, right? We're so scared of how people are going to see us. And, as a total sidebar, before we move on to reason 4, I want to share a little bit of a story. Um, what broke me out of caring what people think about me was, I read a story. This was many years ago. I read a story and um, I realized that Mother Teresa, when she passed away, she died with 2 or 3 possessions, a wooden bowl, a sari, and I think a spoon. Like those were all of her worldly possessions in life. And there were some people, Mother Teresa received hate mail. I mean, like, what? When I realized that Mother Teresa had haters, irrespective of whatever your religion is, I was like, whoa, Mother Teresa has haters. What are they gonna think about you, Lena, for crying out loud? And I just gave it up. I just gave up worrying about whether people were going to like me, whether people were going to think I was pushy or too much or extra or diva or whatever. And I just decided, you know what? I'm going to ask for every single thing that I want and I need. And sometimes people are going to say yes, and sometimes people are going to say no. But you know what? If Mother Teresa has haters, I better go for what I want because not everybody's going to like me. It's not a guarantee that if you just serve and give your whole life that people are going to like you because Mother Teresa has hate mail. Let's get into reason number 4, lack of clarity, right? So why don't we ask for more? Because we don't even know what we want. We do not take enough time to sit and think about what we need, why we need it, and how we want to receive it. We're just in the default hamster wheel loop, right? We're just here with the hamster wheel, just going, 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 and hoping, 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 right? We don't know what we want, and we really need to take the time to figure that out. Fifth reason is media influence, right? Whenever we dare to ask for more, oh, the media portrays you as aggressive and combative and confrontational and adversarial. And how dare you? You're so greedy and you're just asking. And I mean, just look at, I'm always looking at subtext, right? I'm an observer. As much as I talk, I'm an observer. I'm always looking at how things are positioned, how people position things. And just look at the shows, right? We're asking and negotiations are the norm. I don't know if you've ever seen an episode of Shark Tank, but the energy is kind of nasty. Like it's kind of, right? It's a little aggressive in there. This is how they're portraying negotiations and getting companies and bright ideas funded. It's rough and tough, and the people who are doing the funding are you know talking smack to each other, and there's just this whole energy. There's also a show on television here in the U.S. called Storage Wars, right? And there's these auction shows, and these people have these really aggressive combative attitudes towards each other when they're negotiating and when they're asking. Just pay attention to how the media portrays all of that. And the last reason is this. Listen, I am not sitting here in this seat today to tell you that asking for what you want, need, and deserve is easy, because it ain't. I am under no impression and I make no claim that it is easy. You got to get clear, you've got to get confident, and you've got to be in the practice of asking for what you want, getting into the habit. It has got to be part of how you think, it has got to be part of how you process. And here's what that might take for you. For you, that might mean changing who you spend time around. I just had this conversation with my client the other day. And I said, listen, you want to think more expansively about your business? That's great. I'm here for that. I specialize. I got a PhD in thinking big about business. But you know what? It can't be just me who you're talking to this about. Everybody who you're around has to be talking in this elevated way about themselves and about business. Because if it's just me and you're only getting fed that from me, and the 99% of the time when you're not around me, then your energy is going to dip. This might mean changing the folks you're around who has access to you. It might mean listening to different voices, right? It might mean exposing yourself to people who look differently than you, who think differently than you, who are thinking at a completely different level than you are. That's difficult. That's scary. You know, I am an introvert, believe it or not. I would much rather be on a stage talking to 50,000 people than to be in a networking room. And when I am in the networking room, I am trying to figure out, like, how do I get out of here? Like, maybe if I jump out of this window, will I get hurt? How do I make my exit? Right? It's really hard to expose ourselves to new people and new situations and to put ourselves out there and to network. But if you're gonna grow and you're going to get what you ask for and get what you need and what you want and what you deserve, you're gonna have to put yourself out there. And also, it's gonna have to mean being comfortable with silence, being comfortable with silence enough to go inward and really, really get clear about what you want why you want it, and why you deserve it. We're going to be talking about that when I get into the system for asking. It's going to take getting comfortable with silence to go inward, but also once you ask for what you want, whether it's once you state your price, once you say, this is how much I'm going to pay for this house, this is how much I'm going to pay for this car, this is how many people I need to work on this project, this is the salary I want, this is how much it costs to work with me, this is my fee, this is how much I charge, whatever it is, stay quiet. I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn to state my price and then, Lena, shut it up. Shut it up. I used to, before the days of Zoom, when I was talking to potential clients on the telephone and we were doing negotiating calls and sales calls, I would literally state my price and I would just grab my lips and press them together because I just would just need to stop talking, because anything you say after what you say you want is justification. Anything you say after you ask for what you want is justification. These are the 6 reasons that I see why we don't ask. Some of them are like easier to navigate than others, but look through as we go back, and you might listen to this recording when you're on the treadmill or out on your walk or what have you, or on your Peloton bike. When you go back and listen to this recording, these are the reasons. Figure out where these reasons are showing up in your life and then what you're going to do about it. How are you going to address it? Right? So, you know, personal development types and coaches, and I'm a coach, they do a really good job of saying that we need to ask for more, right? But they don't tell you how. How do you ASK so you GET? Because listen, it's not just asking for asking sake. You ask because you want to get something. You're not just like, oh, I'm here to make a stupid ask and I hope that somebody, maybe hears me at some point. No, you're asking because you want to receive whatever it is, that thing that you're asking for. And then the other thing is, nobody tells you how to not feel crappy in the process. They just say, oh, just go and make an ask. And if you're not comfortable with making asks, if you're used to default, and if default has been your jam and your BFF for the past 10 years, 5 years, for the past year, this is going to be uncomfortable. And so you need a system. So let's get into it. Before we get into it, though, I want to talk about the 7 agreements that we're going to make together today about our process that we're going to get into. The first is reserves and margins are a must-have. You have to make space and you have to have room to negotiate. You have to have room to jockey a little bit and say, okay, well, if I meet you halfway on this, can you give me on this? That comes with asking. If you're always asking for more, and as a result of you asking for more, because at some point it's a numbers game, as a result of you asking for more, you're now receiving more. Now you have more margins. Now, sometimes you will be able to get up and walk away from the table. I have walked away from more deals than I can count. Why? Because I felt like maybe the person was unstable. I didn't want to work with them. They weren't coachable. It wasn't the right project for me. What would have happened if I was desperate? What would have happened if I didn't have reserves or margins? Right? Reserves and margins are a must have. If you don't ASK, you don't GET. I have been saying this for years. If you do not open your mouth and ask, right? So I am one of 32 grandchildren. My grandmother had 32 grandkids, and we're kind of all around the same age. And in my family, if you didn't open your mouth, you wouldn't eat, right? The saying, a closed mouth does not get fed. You got to speak up. If you, no one's going to deliver whatever it is that you want. No one's going to come to your door and deliver it in a nice little package from FedEx or DHL or whatever. Asking is not about money. It's not always just about money. Sometimes it's asking for more staff, it's asking for more support, it's asking for more time, it's asking for more bandwidth, it's asking for silence, it's asking to be left alone, right? So right now, my car is in the shop again. And I took an Uber back home. And in the Uber app, you get to ask, you get to put your preferences. And my preference is, do you prefer silence? And I said, yep, I prefer silence. It's not just about asking for money, right? It's about going into your own personal Uber app and saying, what is it that I prefer? What is it that I want? What is it that I need? What is it that I deserve? Right? The other agreement that we're going to make today is that you're never going to start at your bottom line. You're never going to start at the bottom of like, okay, this is my bare minimum of what I want to accept. I teach my clients, take your bare minimum and add 20%, add 50%. It gives you room for what? Reserves and margins so that you can negotiate, so that you can say, in good faith, I'll meet you halfway over here and let's do this over here, right? Sixth agreement is compensation it's not about an easy yes. Whatever you're being compensated, whether it's a salary or whether you're an entrepreneur and you're charging for your work, it's not about getting people to say yes to you. It's about getting people to stop and pause and say, I'm going to consider this investment. Because when people do that, again, whether it's salary or whether it's entrepreneurial or freelance or what have you, or you're a creator, the moment people take a moment, take a beat to consider their work with you, now you get a different type of client, a different type of engagement with your management. You get a different kind of experience in your work. You get people showing up to do the work and ready to take action, and not people who want to complain or push a whole bunch of scope creep or get you to do additional stuff for less, right? The last tip and the last agreement comes from my dad, who was union guy, negotiator for his entire life. And he always taught me, he said, when it comes to a negotiation, everyone has to give something up. And you know why that is? Because you never want to enter into a working relationship, which you hope is fruitful and amicable and profitable for everyone, with that other party feeling like you got the best of them. Because now there's resent at the table, and you never want to be working against resent, right? You don't want to be working against resentment, other people's resentment. And so everybody's got to give up something that they want so that everyone feels compensated. And I say that also, that doesn't always mean you're giving up what you want. Both parties, not just you, right? So those are the 7 agreements. Now, let's get into the system for real this time. Okay. Even if you know that you're up to the opportunity, even if you know, like, listen, this thing that I'm asking for, this project that I'm going for, this thing that I want to do, I know I was born for this. I was built for this. I am ready to rock. If you don't take the time to process how you're going to ask for something, all the way from the very beginning, all the way to the end, if you don't take the time to see it in your mind's eye, and you don't have a system for asking for what you want, your feelings are going to take over. Your feelings are going to get involved. You're going to get triggered somewhere. You're going to have a misstep. And I just want to give you the system so that you can follow the steps. Boom, bada, boom, bada, boom, bada, boom, bada, boom, bada, boom, bada, boom. So let's take a look at these 7 elements. The first is clarity. We talked about that a moment ago. Knowing exactly what you want and what you're going to do with it when you get it. You have to know. Listen, okay, so when it comes to money, let's just say money, for example. One of the most liberating things that I learned from financial behaviorist Jacquette Timmons is every dollar has to have a job. When I learned that every dollar has to have a job, I got out of like, oh, I'm asking to be greedy. I thought, no, 50% of the dollars from this project, this is savings. So the job of those dollars is to sit in savings and make me feel safe. That's the job. So you got to know what you want and why you want it and what you're going to do with it, right? If you don't know what you want, anybody will be able to talk you into anything. They'll talk you into accepting whatever. If you don't know what you want, and that's common, right? I want you to get real still and real quiet and start somewhere. So a lot of my clients come to me and they say, well, Lena, I don't know how much to charge for this project. And I say, great, let's start at $500. And they say, well, that's too low. And I say, okay, what about 1,000? Well, that's too low. Okay, well, what about 2,000? And we work our way up, right? We're not advertising these prices out on Facebook and Instagram. We're in the comfort of our own office behind our computer or with our journal, and we're sketching out ideas and we're trying things on for size. We're just trying it out. It doesn't cost you anything to say, what about 500? What about 1,000? What about this? And remember what we said, reserves and margin, right? So whatever number makes you feel whole and compensated, add 20%. You'll be surprised how often you get it. Element number 2 is agency. And what do I mean by agency? I mean your personal sovereignty applied to your particular ask. I want you to own it. So often we're made to feel bad about what we need, right? When I was doing a lot of in-person speaking, I used to feel bad that because I'm an introvert, I would need to get off stage. And after I finished shaking hands and kissing babies, I needed to go decompress. What that looked like for me was having a green salad in my room, waiting to go with my bottled water that only I drink. If you know me, you know I only drink a certain brand of bottled water. And like that was my process. And there would be people who would call me a diva and they would try to make me feel bad for this being my process. And um, you know, you've got to own it. Otherwise, people will be able to trot you around on a string and they'll be able to trot your emotions around and drag you around by the nose. And um, it's just not a good feeling, right? The other part of agency is being able to asking for what you want, and the agency and the sovereignty and owning what you want is stop asking everybody, right? That's what's called an ask hole, right? Pun intended. You ask this person, well, what do you think I should do? And what do you think I should do? And then what do you think I should do? And it's like this big consensus that you're seeking. You're seeking someone to say, oh yeah, it's okay for you to ask this. I want you to be comfortable within yourself. Hey, this is what I'm asking for. This is what I want, right? Agency. Element number 3 is usage. I can't tell you how many times people have said, I want to make X amount of dollars. And I said, great, what are you going to do with it? Goes back to what Jaquette Timmons taught me. Every dollar has to have a job. What are you going to do with it? Right? When you go and you go to VCs and you ask for millions of dollars for your company, you get funded, they want to see what's your use of funds. There's a section where you in your deck where you need to show use of funds. You're asking us for $2 million. What are you going to do with the $2 million? How is that going to be used? Right? You need to know what you're going to do with what you're asking for before someone says yes to you. Before you get the yes, you need to know what you're going to do, because the last thing you want is for someone to say, oh, sure, you can do that. And then you're sitting there like, oh, well, I was expecting you to say no. We've all had that happen to us. We'll call someone and we think we're getting voicemail, and then they answer and we're like, we don't even have our thoughts together about what we're going to say, because we're so in real time, because we're ready to leave a voicemail. We're ready to phone it in, right? So I want you all to be thinking about what's the bottom line of what you're trying to get to, right? How does that benefit the person you're asking? And then pairing that and trotting that out. Don't feel bad about saying, hey, this aligns with XYZ. I just submitted an application for a project that I wanted to be a part of. And one of the questions was, how does your vision of where you're going in your life and your business align with the work that we're doing, right? That's them asking me this, asking me, if we decide to bring you into this project, how's it going to benefit us? What are you going to do? What's the use? What are you going to do with this? You got to be really clear about that. The fourth element is your post-game plan, your PGP. It doesn't matter whether you're told yes, no, or later. Those are the only 3 options to an ask. The only 3 answers to an ask is yes, no, or later, right? Doesn't matter what the outcome is. What matters is that you have a plan in place so that your emotions are not running the show. So if you're told yes, don't get all, oh my gosh, stay the course. What's your next game? What's your next thing? What is the next thing? If you're told no, it's not, oh, woe is me. I'm now going to go cry into a pint of Ben and Jerry's. You could do that later, but what you need to do afterwards immediately is talk to a friend, right? Find, this slide says it, find and enlist a request champion. Enlist this person before making an ask. Go to them and say, hey, friend, I have a really big ask to make tomorrow. And I don't want it to ruin my day. I don't want to be out of sorts if they say no or if they tell me maybe or later. Um, so can I call you? My call with them is at 2. It's probably going to take about 45 minutes. Can I call you at like 2:45 or 3 o'clock just to bolster me up, just to, give me a, hey, good job on making the ask, right? Reward yourself for making the ask. Don't reward yourself for the outcome because you can't control the outcome. You can't make people say yes. I mean, we're stacking the deck today by giving you a system, but you can't force anyone to say yes to you, right? You want to have your post game plan ready so you know what you're going to do. The fifth element is visualize. And this is again quiet, still, eyes closed. If that's not how your brain works, talk it out into a recorder and listen to it with your eyes closed. The point is, you need to be prepared for every single possible scenario. When I was preparing for this workshop today, I sat with my eyes closed and I saw myself talking to you all and smiling and being myself and being open and answering questions and going through the slides and doing the text setup 15 minutes before, all with my eyes closed and just being open and friendly and ready, all eyes closed, right? In a zone of seeing everything that could possibly happen before it happens so that when and if it happens, I'm ready. I want that to be you. I want that for you. Almost done with the different with the part of the asking system, right? So what's going to be your new normal? This is element 6. What's going to be your new normal once you ask? You have to figure that out. Whether they, again, whether the answer is yes or no or maybe or later matters not. How is your work or your life going to change? Because if you're attached to an outcome, it puts you in the position of being a little kind of the negotiation process dragging you around. If you can say, listen, if they say no, I'm going to be perfectly okay. Or I can get up and I can walk from this deal and I'm going to be able to eat and feed my family and I'm going to be able to be okay. And I'm not going to take this as a personal affront, like they don't like me. Well, they might not like the project. It's okay. Or what I'm presenting, right? Develop your plan and your outcomes for each. Again, this needs to be part of your post game plan of looking at what your new normal is going to look like. Because if you're told no, you might have to live with that no for 6 months to a year before you can ask again. If you're told later, you might have to live with that later or maybe for 6 months to a year before you can ask again. And if you're told yes, excuse me, you need to figure out, oh, okay, so now I actually have the staff. They gave me the assistant. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what is my new normal going to be? Okay, so I'm going to have to make time. I'm going to have time in my schedule to have meetings with this person. What's the new normal? And the last element to this asking system, this 7-part asking system, is your recon, right? When it's all said and done, again, irrespective of the answer that you received, what are you going to do to start outlining the specifics of your next ask? Right? It's like Janet Jackson. What have you done for me lately? You're only as good as your last ask, right? You're developing the habit of asking. Asking really need not be this momentous thing where, you need to. I am saying it's a system, prepare for it, and make asks as often as you dare. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. Have the courage when you're, especially when you're told no, or maybe or later. Have the courage to sit down and outline, okay, so what went well and what didn't go so well and what could I improve on? And have the discipline of sitting down when you're told yes and asking yourself the same questions. What could I have done better? Right? What worked really well? What do I want to lather, rinse, and repeat on? What could I have done better? Have the discipline when you're told yes to sit down and say, all right, what worked about that? So that next time I can just plug and play, plug and play. So those are the 7 elements. The main takeaways today for y'all, and we'll drop into Q&A, is preparation paves the road of receiving. You can receive so much more easily if you would just pave that road with some preparation. I watched this show, Ice Road Truckers, right? And those roads are treacherous. Your roads don't have to look like that. They can be smooth or smoother if you prepare. And also, asking is not an event. It's not this one-shot deal where you're like, okay, I asked and I'm done with asking. I'm never asking again. It is a process of learning how to do this. Do I always do all of these steps every single time? No, but you know what I always make sure to do? I always make sure to do my recon so that if I miss step 3, I can say, okay, Lena, the reason that there was this little sticky part of the conversation is because you had no idea what you were going to do once they said yes. You didn't come to the table with a plan, Lena. You got to do your recon, right? Get into the habit. It's a process. It's not an event. All right. Hannah, do we want to open it up for some Q&A from the folks? I'm ready.
Yes, we do. Okay, we have a couple questions already.
Okay, awesome.
So the first question is action into practice. So the first few times, obviously, you start trying some of these things, it's going to be pretty clunky, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any motivational tips for us, or maybe some ways to gently ease into it a little bit more?
Okay, so motivational tip number 1 is this. I want to show you this. Look at this. Listen, somebody is that's $20,000. Someone is charging 20, and it's not like, oh, they put it up for sale on Etsy and nobody bought it. Somebody bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody bought it, right? And listen, if these examples don't work for you, that's cool. It's all good. Find examples of people who you admire, people who you look up to, asking for what they want and looking at their successes and looking at their wins. And as far as easing yourself into it, yeah, having a system helps. Having a system is part of how you ease yourself into it. And here's the thing, again, if you've been on default for the past decade or 5 years or a year, and you've just been doing default, and not taking up a lot of space, don't think like, oh, I'm just gonna, do the subway spread, right? In New York, what we call the subway spread. I'm gonna take up 2 or 3 seats on the subway with my bags and my stuff, right? Ease into it. Make that first ask maybe a smaller ask, right? Instead of saying, oh, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna ask for a 50% raise. Okay, I'm gonna go in here and I'm going to ask for an additional $10,000 to be added to this budget for this event that I manage every single year. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
We're not in a rush. Good question.
That was a good one. There's one that I can answer really quick. So a few people have asked if there's going to be a recording available or slides afterwards. Just so you know, the recording is going to be available on Friday on our YouTube page, and I'm just going to drop that in the chat right there. If you subscribe, it'll notify you when it's added, but also just so you know, you'll be able to check, and on Friday it should be up. Another question we had was, what are some steps or suggestions you have to help people work through their fear on how they are perceived?
Right.
That's a tough one.
Again, Mother Teresa has haters, right? I mean, it's just, it's got to do with radical acceptance, y'all. Not everybody's gonna like you. Giving up the need to be. I always tell people I am a good person. Anyone who knows me knows that I will support, I will cheerlead, I will rah, rah, rah. I'm probably not a nice person. I'm really direct. I'm, lovingly honest, right? I'm not necessarily what you would consider nice, and I don't care. And how I got there was I realized I can't change how people perceive me. I can sit here and I can be nice and I can be polite, and someone will still say, "Oh, that Lena, she's so saccharine. It's so sweet. It's diabetic. I'm over it. I don't like her. It's too much. It's over the top. She's not real. She's phony. She's fake." Someone's always going to have something to say. It's just who people are. And, it's not that I don't care about what anybody thinks. It's that I care about what the people who are close to me think. I care about what my parents think, my family, my loved ones, my clients, people who know me really well. Strangers, I'm just every single day, I'm divesting from even caring because they don't know me enough.
Hmm.
And the other tip here that I want to offer is don't internalize the good or the bad. When people say nice things about me, of course I'm grateful and I'm humbled. It's how I was raised. I was raised a very humble person, and to practice humility and to be humble. Um, but I don't internalize it. If you don't internalize, if you don't, and I tell my clients this, please don't put me on a pedestal because I will disappoint you.
Hmm.
You know, if you don't internalize the good or the bad, you become neutral and you just are able to just be yourself in the world and just be neutral. I hope that helps.
No, that was really helpful. Okay, we did have a question from Corin, and they asked, what was the name of the person you were referring to regarding money? Jack Timmerman? Timmer?
Oh, I'm gonna type their name in the chat.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
Jacket.
Jacket,
She
yes.
is a Timmons. She is a financial behaviorist. Full disclosure, behaviorist. I just put it in the chat. Um, Full disclosure, Jaquette has been my financial behaviorist and the person that I go to for money for a very long time. And I trust her, and she's super smart.
Mm,
So that's that.
okay, we had another question about building confidence. Are
Oh,
there any steps you
yeah.
have or ideas about building confidence
Yes.
consistently?
It goes back to this slide, y'all. Hold on one second. Let me go back. It goes back to this. Let's go back. No, no, no. I just went past it. Here we go. Goes back to reason number 6, right? So getting to clarity and confidence and conditioning takes the confidence. You got to protect it at all times. I am always saying protect your confidence. That means if you have frenemies in your orbit, get rid of those people. Those people, when you share your really big ideas and the things that are close to your spirit and close to your heart, and you just want support, and they've got this kind of backhanded sideways comment, or they're halfway supportive, or they're always asking for a discount, or they always want 50% off, or they always want the friends and family, and they're not really supportive. Lo boto, get rid of those people, get them out of your space, get them out of your orbit, get them out of your energy, because they're chipping away at your confidence. Always protect your confidence. I don't share my plans and my ideas with people who don't support me.
Hmm.
And sometimes that looks like not sharing with family and friends, unfortunately,
Yeah.
right? Always protect your confidence, and 90% of your confidence is going to come from what you're seeing and hearing in your environment.
Okay, we have another question for you specifically. What was the self-actualization process or unlearning you had to experience in order to become more comfortable with asking? This is a
Ooh, I
hard
love this.
hitter. It's a hard hitter.
Yeah, it's a hard hitter, and I love the hard hitters. Um, I had to learn how to, couple things. I had to learn how to not take myself so seriously. So part of the reason that I'm um I don't really, it doesn't really matter to me like what people say or whether people think I'm nice or not or how I'm perceived, that sort of thing, is because everything that anybody's probably going to say about me, I've probably already said it to myself. Like I've gotten real with myself about a few things and my personality, right? And so I know that, I am a hard hitter. I'm a truth deliverer. That's what I do. And some people can hang and some folks can't. And it's all good. It doesn't mean that I'm great and they're bad or they're not ready for my greatness, or it has nothing to do with any of that. It's just we're not an energetic match for this time and space. So it was accepting and recognizing that and surfacing that in myself. The other thing is I had to learn how to shut up. I had to learn how to get really still and really quiet and listen to myself and listen to not just what people were saying, but what they weren't saying. Right. I
Mm-hmm.
had to learn how to, when I stated my price, be quiet. Let me tell you something. When you follow this 7-step system and it starts working for you, it's going to build your confidence because you're going to get win after win after win after win. And you're going to be like, oh my goodness, this works. When you get win after win after win after win, it naturally boosts your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It naturally puts you in a space of self actualization and self realization. But you got to do the work. And
Yeah.
for me, what that took is not taking myself so seriously, being really, really honest about who I am and who I'm not, and just ex- being expecting to hear what I already know about myself, right? What people would say is shadow work, right? A little bit of understanding the shadow of who I am, and then learning how to just be quiet.
Okay, another question we had was, do you use these same steps when it comes to asking for what you want in more of a personal relationship instead of a professional one? Or how would those differ?
I use it all the time, every time. When I have to ask anyone for anything, it is always this process because you're not guaranteed a yes.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things that we go for, it's high stakes. You know, when you go out here and you're looking for a home and you find that home and you fall in love with that home, when you get that no, it is heartbreak. I don't care what HGTV tells us and says, oh, well, don't fall in love with the home. Listen, I'm not a robot walking through this house. I'm a human being and I love it. Okay. So don't tell me not to fall in love with it. And when they say they don't want to sell to me, I'm like, but I am a little cute dog. You don't want to sell me your house? What is it about me that makes you not like me? And then we go there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say I use this all the time because I need a system. Again, if left to my own devices, I will either ad lib or I'll let my emotions take over.
Mm. Mm.
Neither of which has a positive outcome. Let's be
Okay, another question we had was kind of around, say you have an ask or you created a beautiful project
Mhm.
and you find out it got denied. Do you have any other like playing or ways of maybe negotiating still, even though you've already gotten a no?
Yes. The next ask is that a firm no?
Mm,
What I have learned is almost everything is negotiable. Almost everything is negotiable. So when someone says no, I'll say, is that a firm no? Or which I will respect and I make clear, like if it's a firm no, I will respect that. But if there's a way for us to work this out, is there something that you need to see that I didn't give? Have the courage to make that secondary tack on ask. Have that courage to show up to that conversation. You'd be surprised how much more you get if you would just humble yourself and say, have I not given you something that you need? What have I not offered?
mm. Another question we had was kind of around pay. So the example was, say I just got a new job, I'm
Yeah.
probably overqualified for it. Is there a way for me to ask for more money?
Yes. Ask for more money.
Okay.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the point that I want to make. Being overqualified for the role does not automatically mean you don't get to ask for more.
Mm-hmm.
This is what society tells us. Society tells us go somewhere, be happy, don't rock the boat, accept the default, say yes, be agreeable, be nice, don't be greedy. You're overqualified. Why would they pay you? And again, I go back to the $1,500 paperclip. every single day people get what they want. In the instance where you feel like, okay, I think it's going to be a no, ask anyway, because again, we're not asking for the outcome. We're asking because asking is a process and we are building our asking muscles, right? We're not asking always for the yes, although you are asking to receive, but the outcome matters not. Get into the habit of asking. The second thing I would say to that person is figure out what your alternative forms of currency are, right? I believe in alternative forms of currency. Every single thing, you're not going to get what you want. And so you've got to figure out, if they can't give me money, what can they give me? Can they give me another FTE, another full-time employee? Can they give me more budget? Can they give me more money on my cost center? What can they give me if it doesn't come in salary that I also would want? And then once you get that, do your recon and set yourself up for the next ask, because you might get the yes on that and then start thinking about, all right, now how do I ask for salary again? Ask again. Never stop asking. Some people will say no just to see if you'll ask again. It's outrageous.
It is. Okay, Lena, we have time for one last question for you.
Okay.
So here at DreamBank, we believe in the power of dreams, and we celebrate that with our community of our fellow fearless dreamers. As we wrap up, we always like to ask this one question. What is one piece of advice you have for someone who is pursuing a dream right now?
Ooh, I love this question, Hannah.
I know.
Oh, one piece of advice?
Just maybe one
Okay.
or two.
Okay. No, I'm going to follow the rules right now. Okay. I'm going to behave. All right. One piece of advice. I would say write that dream down in detail, as much detail as you can. If you're not a writer, talk it out like on your iPhone, pick up your voice recorder, open the voice recording app, and talk through every single detail that you can possibly imagine. Sit down in your living room on your comfy couch with a nice throw, get toasty, or if you like it cool, turn the fan on, get a good breeze, open the windows, get yourself a cup of something, beverage that you enjoy, and really sink into the details. The more details you can imagine, the more and this is not like law of attraction stuff here, y'all. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is you create a container in which you can see it. You create a visual picture for yourself. So often we don't take the time to have the visual picture. And so when we see the thing that we want, we're not even sure if that's really it. Because it's like, wait, is this really what? I don't know. Is this it? I don't know. Where if you took the time to get it down in detail, the moment you see it, it's like, as my friend would say, that's for me.
Mm. Thank you so much, Lena. I know I took a lot personally away. Asking's not my favorite thing. I'll be honest with everyone. It's not my favorite thing. It's something I've been working on, but I think my biggest takeaway from your event today was just the similarity between dreaming and asking is really asking us to step outside of our comfort zone to make our comfort zone bigger. So I just wanted to thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today. I loved it. It was a fabulous presentation, and I know you had a lot of love in the comments as well. So just wanted to say thank you again for your time and your energy and all your effort.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank y'all for showing up and being here. I so appreciate it.
And to everyone who tuned in, we thank you for joining us as well. We look forward to continuing to learn, grow, and dream together in the future. If you want to learn more about our upcoming DreamBank events and content designed with your dreams in mind, you can find out more information on our events at amfam.com/dreambank or by connecting with us on our social channels. On behalf of American Family Insurance and DreamBank, we look forward to hosting you all again. Until then, keep dreaming fearlessly and have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you.